Hi, welcome back. This is a lower body flow. We are not going to be using any props today. I do have a blanket set up down on my mat. We are going to work through some side lying work today, and that can feel a little intense on the outsides of the hips. So if you want to grab your blanket, go ahead, hit pause, set yourself up. We're going to get started on our left sides. So I'm going to give you two options, a little bit nicer. You can lay down and kind of make a little pillow for your head with your left arm. A little bit more challenging, you can find your left forearm down onto the mat. A little bit extra upper body and abdominal engagement with this option. We're going to tuck the knees in towards our chests here. And we're going to press down, if you're on our forearms, you're going to press down through that left forearm, lift up through that left armpit here. We are going to get started with some clamshells today. So we're going to keep the heels connected. We're just going to open that top knee, drop it back down. So we're just opening and closing this right knee here. No matter where you're at, everything is staying nice and still with the exception of this right knee. So we want to really lift up through that left oblique here. And if you're on the forearm, lift up through that left armpit as well. Resist the urge to kind of sink into that shoulder. Couple more here. Starting to get nice and warmed up. Last two. And last one, we're going to open up and hold. We're going to do a bouncing clam. So we're going to bring the knees together to touch, separate the feet, and then bring the heels together to touch, separate the knees. So we're just going to bounce this right shin. Once again, everything is staying nice and still here. We want to be mindful that we are moving from this right hip joint here, and the pelvis is staying nice and still. So resist the urge to kind of knock forward and back in those hips. We're going to keep it nice and still. We're just going to be moving that right leg. Definitely starting to feel a little bit of a burn here. Last 4, 3, 2, and 1. Find that leg to be parallel. We're going to reach the right leg out long and hold. We're going to flex the right foot. That foot is parallel and really reach long through that right heel. We're just going to lower and lift. It is pretty small. We want the hips to be nice and stacked. So the right hip is just on top of that left hip here. So we are not kind of knocking back and forth. So yep, nice and straight. Really reaching long through that left heel, starting to feel the outside of that, or that right heel, sorry, starting to feel the outside of that right glute turning on. Last 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hold that leg out long. Point the toes. You're going to sweep the foot forward. Pause here. Lower down an inch, up an inch. Flex the foot. Send the leg back behind you. Pause, down, up. So we are just sweeping side to side. I am definitely starting to feel this in my right glute. As we sweep side to side, I want you to imagine like you're painting a line on a fence with that right leg, and that line is nice and straight. We really want to control this movement. We are all engaged through our core. We are lifting up through that left oblique. Make the movement a little bit smaller if you're kind of having trouble keeping the hips stable. Last 2. I'm totally feeling this. The last one. Sweep that foot forward. Internally rotate the toes. So toes down, heels up. Lower and lift. This one is such a killer. Lift up through that left armpit. As I fatigue, I'm totally just kind of collapsing down. Just a little more mindful of that as we work through this. Last 3, 2, 1. Send the leg back. Externally rotate. We're going to draw the knee in towards our chest. And we're going to reach it out. This is the last little bit on this side. Definitely feeling the outside of that right glute. Really reaching that leg out long. Our hips are still nice and stacked. So resist the urge to knock back. You want to really isolate that hip joint. Last 3, 2, and 1. Woo! All right, drop it down. Punch that right hip out. We're going to flip onto our backs for this next one. We're going to do a little bit of bridging between sides. So we're going to get started lying down. So to make bridging a little bit nicer, keep the heels down on the ground so the feet are nice and flat. To make it a little more challenging, you're going to lift the heels up. Our feet are about hip width distance and parallel here. We're going to hinge at the hips, send your hips up towards the ceiling, find your high bridge, and then hinge at the hips to reach the hips down, tap that tailbone down onto the mat. Stay here with the arms down or make it a little bit more challenging, sending your hands up towards the ceiling. So we want to really emphasize those glutes. So when we find that high bridge, just give a little extra squeeze into those glutes. And having the heels lifted is going to turn those glutes on a little bit more, so it'll start to get a little bit heavier. Do feel free to just let those heels rest if that is not feeling good today. Ribs are knitted together. Draw that low belly, it down and in, squeezing through the low abs. Last two. And last one. Find the high bridge and hold. We're going to lower down halfway and then lift it up. Smaller range of motion, so it's feeling a little bit heavier. We still have that abdominal engagement here. A little extra squeeze of those glutes at the top. Last two. And last one. Find the high bridge and hold, even smaller. Down an inch, up an inch. Our knees are staying about hip width distance apart, but do kind of emphasize that engagement of those inner thighs. So keep the knees still, but squeeze through the inner thighs as well. A little squeeze into those glutes as we lift. Last three, two, and one. Find that high bridge and hold. Lower the heels down to tap. Lift them back up. So finding a little calf raise here. Lower and lift. Engage through our core. Last four, three, two, and one. All right, we're gonna let those heels drop. Hips are high. We're gonna go into marching. So you're gonna lift the left leg into tabletop, set it back down, lift the right leg into tabletop, set it back down. I'm totally feeling my right leg from that right side lying series that we did. So our hips are staying nice and still, and it might be nicer to put your hands down onto your mat. I'm definitely gonna switch for that option here. So we want the hips to stay that same height as we march it out. We also want them to stay, the hip bones to stay in one straight line so they're not knocking side to side. Last two. And last one. Pause with the right leg lifted. Send the right toes up to the ceiling. Little pulses in the hips, up an inch, down an inch. Trying to keep those hip bones as level as possible. Our left glute is screaming at us. If you want more, lift the left heel up. Continue with the pulse. I'm personally going to put my left heel down. Last four, three, two, and one. Lift up and hold. Right foot down, left foot up. Lower and lift. Down and up. Really breathing into it. You can put a bend in that left knee if it's feeling a little tight today. Last three, two, and one. Lift it up, lower it back down, and then come back down to your mat. Knock your knees side to side. Give yourself a little bit of a release here. So you guys are just going to roll onto your right side. I'm going to flip myself around just so you can still see me. And we're going to set up for that side lying series on the right side now. So we're going to press down through our right forearm. You can always choose that head and the arms pillow option. And we're going to draw the knees in towards our chest. Heels are connected. We're going to open and close that top knee, so that left knee. So we want to set ourselves up here. We want the hips to be stacked on top of one another here in that same plane. So just notice if you kind of start to fall back, that's pretty common, especially with these clamshells. And it might be a pretty small motion when those hips are stacked. That is totally fine. If you are on your forearm, you're lifting up through your right armpit, avoiding that kind of turtle option, sagging into the shoulders. And we are all lifting up through our right oblique. Okay, we're going to go into bouncing clams here. So open it up and hold. We're going to draw the knees together to touch, separate the feet, and switch. So we are bouncing this left shin here, knee to knee, toe to toe. Lifting up, really press down through that right forearm. As I fatigue, I always kind of like sink into it. Just be a little mindful of that. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Find that parallel position and hold. Reach that left leg out long. Reach long through the left heel here. Lower and lift. So it's a pretty small motion. So we want those hips stacked. We're lifting up through the right oblique. Left foot is parallel and flex, and we're really reaching long through that left heel, finding length through the left leg. One of those small and mighty movements for the left glute. Last 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lift it up and hold. Point the toes, sweep the foot forward, pause, down, up. Flex the foot, sweep the leg back, down, up. So once again, as we sweep forward, we have a nice straight line in this left foot. And then we are keeping the hips nice and still. So the pelvis is not moving at all. We're just staying nice and stacked here. And that might mean a smaller motion for this left leg. Perfectly fine. Prioritize that abdominal engagement first. Last 2, definitely feeling this. And last one. All right, sweep it forward. Internally rotate, toes drop. Down an inch, up an inch, ouch. This one is such a killer. Lift up through the right armpit. Resist the urge to collapse into it. Breathing into that left glute. Last 2 and last one. Send the left leg back, externally rotate. Draw the left knee in, kick it out. So I felt myself kind of knock back for that. If that's you too, draw the left hip forward. My left hip is tighter than my right hip, so I'm not as externally rotated in this leg. Just check in with your body. Meet your body where it's at. Whew. Last 3, 2, and 1. Nice job. Drop it down. Punch that top hip out. All right, let's slip onto our backs and stretch it out. We're going to start with the left leg. So we're going to take a figure 4 stretch. So left heel or left ankle goes just above the right knee. And then thread your hands through your legs. Flex that left foot. And then you can pull your legs a little bit closer to your face. So depending, I'm not super flexible, so my feet are not going very far. You might be able to pull it closer. That's great. Stretching out that left hip. All right, let's switch it out. Right heel just above the left knee. Flex that right foot and thread your hands through your legs, finding a really nice figure 4 stretch. More seconds here. All right. And then when you're ready, I'm just going to uncross the legs. We're going to come up to a seated position. I'm going to spin around to face you. We're going to take a big inhale in, send the hands up to the ceiling, and then exhale, shake it out, let it go. Great job today. I'll see you in the next video.
If you like this class and you're looking for more, head to aopilates.studio, where as a member you'll receive unlimited access to over 100 Mat and Reformer Pilates workouts. Your first 7 days are completely free.